Hey everybody! Today we're going to play a little game. It's called Beat the Clock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do some quick exercises that are going to really help you to get nice, loose, and expressive with your watercolors. Let's play. A great way to get loosened up before you start a big painting is to do some practice exercises. What I've done here is I've taken a large sheet of paper and I've painted the same simple object, in this case a little green apple, several times on the page. All that you're doing is trying to get the object onto the paper. You're not going to worry about if your paint runs a little bit. You're not going to worry about getting a perfect shape. What you are going to be focusing on is getting the right values, the right amount of paint, the right amount of water so that you can move things around and get a nice, loose, expressive study of that little apple. So what I do is I like to time myself to make sure that I don't spend too much time on any one of these drawings. So I'm going to start with a 5-minute timer. Editor, start the timer. Okay, I'm going to start out with a little bit of some light green paint that I've mixed up, and I'm going to just sketch in the outline of my apple. Now, the right side of my apple is the lighter side, so I'm going to take some of that nice light green paint and I'm going to just put it all down on that right-hand side. Now, I've also got some darker green that I mixed up. And I'm going to use that for the left side of my apple because the left side is my shadow side. And because my paint's nice and wet, I'm going to get a great blend where the two meet. So all that I'm going to do is just keep pushing that paint to the left from the point where it meets up with the lighter side so that I get a nice gradual transition of values. And you can see I added a little bit more blue into the green on that for that left side so that it would get even darker. So we go from our lightest light side all the way to our nice dark shadow side. Next, we're going to go right in. Oh, that's my friend's dog. Well, that's what happens sometimes. You know, actually, this isn't a bad thing because when we're painting, a lot of times we get distracted. So let's see if I can actually finish this up, even with all the commotion that's going on in the background. Okay, so I just plopped in the little bit of shadow that's underneath the apple. And that's going to be great because what that does is that really helps to ground the object. Now the next part's going to be a little tricky because this is still very wet and I want to get in the stem of the apple. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to get a little bit of sort of a pinkish reddish gray tone mixed up, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put that in as some background because we don't want the apples to just be floating in space. We want them to feel like they're in a little bit of an environment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start to bring that up to the edge. If it overlaps a little, it might bleed a bit, but that's okay. Again, remember, we're not going for a perfectly blended look here. We want to get an apple on our page that looks juicy and vibrant and like something that we would want to eat. Okay, so I just want to get a little darker and mix up some paint for that little stem that's there, plop that in, and then just get a little tiny bit darker right on the bottom. And I'm going to call this one done because, as I said, I don't want to overwork it. I want it to feel like it's nice and fresh. The other thing that I can show you later, too, is how you can go back in and clean up some edges, but you've got to wait until everything's dry in order to do that. So it looks like I beat the clock. I didn't hear the alarm go off, so it looks like we did it. So I'm going to try another one, and this time I'm not going to talk while I'm doing it. I'm going to try and get it done in less than 3 minutes. Editor, are we ready? Oh, 2 minutes. Okay, my editor's giving me 2 minutes. All right, she's tough, and so we're gonna do that. All right, so I'm not going to talk. That's right. Looks like we're going to make it, I think. I have no idea how much time is left on that clock, but just going to keep going. You get to a point when you're doing these that you have to sort of realize that any more that you touch it, if it's still wet, it's going to run. So you want to stop and just leave that nice, very, very fresh, loose impression there. Get used to seeing things like that and not feeling the need to go in and correct everything and make it really, really hard-edged. Okay, I'm going to call that one done as well. 34 seconds? Oh, left. Okay. Okay, you can see this is a little bit of a tough thing to film. Anyway, it's good though that we've got a little bit of time, because what I'd like to do is go back into this apple that I did first, because it's almost dry, and just clean up, show you how you can just clean up some edges. So let's say that you've got something that's running that you don't want to run. Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of that bleeding because it gives you a nice soft edge. But let's say that you want to clean up a few areas. If you wait until things are dry, you can go back in, you can make some adjustments, but you want to make sure that you're careful not to go in and overwork it, because a nice loose drawing can easily become tight very quickly, and tight usually means overworked. So be careful to not let that happen. Okay, give it a try. It's lots of fun. And the more that you do this, especially if you do it before you work on a large painting, your hand will get nice and loose. You won't be as anxious about putting that first mark on the paper, and you probably get a much more expressive and atmospheric result. Have fun with it. Can you beat the clock? Keep practicing and it'll get easier and easier. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.